Hi everyone, it's Kim again in the garden. Where else would I be? I just finished pruning my tomatoes. We're here, and I was about to spray them for a little bit of blight. And I thought I would give you a quick tour and then show you what I use to spray my tomatoes. I'm out of breath. It's 90 degrees out here. It's a hot one. I did replant the peas that I had up here in front. I did see that a couple are poking through the ground. It's been so hot. I'll be surprised if any come up, but we need a nice good rain to do that. Get past the kale here. We do have some beets and some cabbages coming up here that I planted directly into the ground, but I don't have a lot of good luck with planting seed direct in the ground when it's blazing hot here in the middle of summer. So I did plant some of those in the greenhouse as well. And I'm gonna show you those at the end. I just saw a tiger swallowtail fly by. Here she comes. We have tiger swallowtails, black swallowtails, monarchs, so many things over here. We've got a couple little friends living in the dill. Those are black swallowtail caterpillars. So yeah, I got distracted by a butterfly. What can I say? Anyway, what I was saying is I did plant some beets, kohlrabi, broccoli, some of the cool weather fall plants in the greenhouse, and I'm just going to show that at the end. The greenhouse that I have is shaded. It only gets about 3 to 4 hours of sun a day in the evening, so it's really not too hot to start some stuff in there. So I've done that, and it's working good. As I said, the flowers are doing great, buzzing with bees and butterflies. I see a cabbage moth back there. Not my favorite kind of butterfly, but that's okay. Zucchini are going crazy. I'm also going to spray them with the same thing that I'm going to spray the tomatoes with. They have a little bit of mosaic wilt going on, just a little bit. I'm still getting zucchini. I'm still getting a lot of zucchini. Each plant has been throwing about one a day, and there's 9 plants, so I have more zucchini than I know what to do with. I'm still not sure when to pick my celery. I read online all sorts of things. Pick it when it looks like the grocery store celery. Pick it when the outer leaves are 6 inches long, or stalks I should say. So I may just pull one up soon here and give it a taste and see what it's like. I pulled some of these nebula carrots yesterday, and we're gonna have them for supper for the first time, but I had a caterpillar on them in my kitchen, so I had to bring that back today. Green beans are going crazy. I've frozen so many green beans and given them away, and we eat them a lot, and they're still coming, and I'm really happy about that because we've had a major Japanese beetle infestation this year, and I was pretty sure the beans were going to be the thing they took over, and they have been chewing on them a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be, so I'm okay with that. It's fine. We're getting plenty of green beans. Cucumbers, more than we know what to do with. A good problem. Looks like I'm going to have to pick again today. I don't know if you can see that guy on there. Oh. Eggplants. So the tomatoes is what I worked on today. I've had major blight since the last horrible storm we had. We had a storm that knocked everything about, kicked up some dirt, and knocked over one of my tomatoes, and ever since then the blight just, once you get dirt on leaves. So I cut off everything that had blight on it today. anything brown or nasty. And then I'm going to spray them with a mix here real quick. That helps a little bit with the fungus. And it worked for me last year, so look at how beautiful these peppers are. Oh, they're so nice and big. It's lovely. Yeah, so squash are getting their summertime wilt on. We need rain again. I think I said that already, but that's my lament at the moment. We need rain. My daughter has some gladiolus she planted over there that are starting to bloom so pretty. Yeah, so not too bad. Loads of fruit in the sun now. It's going to ripen. And pretty good. Hollyhocks are blooming. Aren't they pretty? I'm amazed at how tall they are. I'm 5'8", and they're at least a foot taller than me at the moment, if not more. Alright, so the spray. What I do is a baking soda spray, and it's super easy. I use a tablespoon of baking soda. I use a teaspoon of any kind of cheap oil that I might have in the kitchen. And as if this has been in the kitchen, it's filthy. It's been in my greenhouse. And then I use a couple spritzes of dish soap and put it in a little gallon sprayer bottle. Make sure it's all mixed up well, and then I just lightly dampen all the leaves. And I also spray a little bit underneath on the dirt at the bottom of the plant. And just that little bit of baking soda is usually enough to kind of keep the blight at bay for a little while longer. I have lots of fruit on there, and I'm not at all worried about not getting tomatoes. It's just, especially with the indeterminate plants, you really want them to stay healthy as long as you can and get as many tomatoes out of it as you can. So that's what I'll be doing for the next few minutes. I'll see you in a bit. One thing I forgot to mention, I normally do this in the evening, and it's not quite evening now. You don't want the leaves to get burned, and you are putting water on the leaves by doing this, but I don't come over here in the evenings very often at this point of summer because the mosquitoes are really bad in my garden. So it's leaning towards evening right now, and I think the sun is far enough down that once I have sunflowers in the west too, so these plants will be shaded within an hour or so. So what I do is, well, first I gotta pump up my sprayer here, and then what I do is I spray the ground in a little bit of a perimeter around the bottom of the plant, and then I just start on the stems going up. Give all the leaves a little spray. And move on. And just that little bit is just enough to hold off some of the blight. So, and I don't put a lot. It's air dried quite quickly, and it also has that little bit of oil in it to help it stick to the leaves, and it also gives it a tiny bit of a protective layer. So this is the way I've always done it, and it usually works pretty well. So that's it. Loads to go. Well, what do you think of the caterpillars, my dear?
They're great.
Are you gonna, oh no, our old friend fell down.
Wow.
You wanna go fix him?
Okay.
How did that happen?
I might have kicked it over
You might have kicked it over.
on accident. Get it in.
All right. As I was saying, what are we taking home from the garden today?
A pile of green beans.
A pile of green beans.
Some kale.
Some kale.
Big bunch. Oh, quite a few tomatoes.
Quite a few tomatoes. And these are yellow tomatoes.
And some zucchini.
We've got a lot of zucchini down there.
Then a whole lot of cucumbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then some peppers.
What kind of peppers?
Bell peppers and poblanos.
Woo! Very good. Shall we get out of here?
Yeah.
Get out of this hot sun?
Uh-huh.
Actually, it's not even that hot anymore. The day's almost over, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. All right, my dear. Let's go home.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, here I am in the greenhouse. These are little baby kohlrabi and beets and leeks and broccoli and a little bit of lettuce for my fall garden. I've decided to try and start it in the greenhouse here instead of directly in the soil at the garden, because when it's this hot and dry, it's so hard to get seeds to come up in the soil over there at the garden. So we've got them going over here, and it looks like, even though I don't have premium potting soil anymore at this point, it still looks like they're getting a go. They're a little leggy, and it could be because my greenhouse is very shaded. We're under a walnut tree, and in the spring, when it's wide open, there's several hours of sun here in the greenhouse, but now that it's summer and there's full foliage on the tree, it's just a few hours here in the evening where they get light. But they'll do fine. They're actually doing much better here than they would be doing over at the garden. So I may have to think of what to do about this leggy situation, but they'll be fine. Once I get them over to the garden, I'll let them get it a few inches taller here, and then I'll take them over to the garden. So that will be great. And I probably should thin the lettuce out just a little bit, because I had almost every seed I put in there looks like germinated, so that's fantastic. I don't have a lot else in the greenhouse right now. What I do have is just some house plants that this one I recently purchased. Actually, each of my kids picked out a succulent at the store one day, so I just have a new pot for that. This is the loofah that I was trying to grow, and it's not growing very fast, and I don't want to put it in the ground because we don't have a long enough growing season here really for it, and I was kind of hoping to take it into the house at fall and see what happened if I did that. We'll see. I don't know. And I have baby spider plants that I propagated from a plant that I had in the house just for something fun to do out here, because I don't like to have an empty greenhouse. It's not my favorite thing to have an empty space, so lots of empty space. But that's what's going on in the greenhouse. I do have fall gardens started in here, so yeah. It's not actually looking very bad. It'll be great. One last thing. This is a fun little experiment. My daughter pulled a sucker off of one of my tomato plants one day when we were pruning, and she rooted it again to get a new tomato plant going, and it's taken off here. It's way behind the rest of the garden because this was just a tiny little sucker off of one of my other plants, but it's been fun to watch and see what it does, and it does have like it did try and bloom here, so I don't have room in the garden for any more tomatoes, so it's just been sitting back here by the greenhouse, and it's had its issues. But yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. Always things to learn about and things to experiment with, so this is one of those. And I'll leave this video here in the evening in my woods. It's a beautiful summer evening. The cicadas are singing and the birds are chirping. And it's just a lovely, lovely night. Until next time. Bye.